303 Cobras lost, 247 crew members killed. These numbers tell only part of the story of the AH-1 Cobra's service in Vietnam. Behind these statistics lie tales of heroism, technological marvel, and a fundamental shift in warfare. What was it like to pilot this revolutionary machine, and how did it feel to be on the receiving end of its arsenal? January 1965 marked a pivotal moment in military aviation history. Bell Helicopter, recognizing the urgent need for a dedicated attack helicopter, invested $1 million in a groundbreaking design. The task of bringing this revolutionary aircraft to life fell to Mike Folse, a brilliant engineer with a penchant for innovative solutions. Folse faced a daunting challenge. The US military demanded a swift turnaround, setting seemingly impossible deadlines for the project. The technical hurdles were equally formidable. The new helicopter needed to combine devastating firepower with the agility to survive in hostile airspace. It had to be fast, maneuverable, and capable of carrying an arsenal that could turn the tide of battle. Undaunted, Folse devised an ingenious approach. Rather than starting from scratch, he proposed leveraging existing components from the proven AH-1 Huey helicopter. This strategy would significantly reduce development time and costs. Folse envisioned a sleek, narrow fuselage that would minimize the aircraft's profile, making it a more difficult target for enemy fire. The urgency driving the Cobra's development was palpable. As the conflict in Vietnam intensified, American forces found themselves outgunned and outmaneuvered by an elusive enemy. The military brass demanded a weapon that could provide close air support in the dense jungles and rice paddies of Southeast Asia. Every day without this capability meant more lives lost on the ground. Folse and his team worked tirelessly, often putting in 16-hour days. They grappled with complex issues of weight distribution, aerodynamics, and weapons integration. The innovative tandem seating arrangement, with the pilot sitting behind and above the gunner, presented unique challenges in terms of visibility and control layout. As summer drew to a close, anticipation built within Bell Helicopter and the military community. Would Folse's unorthodox design prove viable? Had corners been cut in the rush to meet deadlines? On September 7, 1965, these questions were answered. The Model 209 prototype, the precursor to the AH-1 Cobra, took to the skies for the first time. As it lifted off, the distinctive whop-whop of its rotor blades heralded a new era in aerial warfare. The flight was a resounding success, validating Folse's vision and Bell's substantial investment. In a mere 8 months, Folse and his team had transformed a concept into a flying reality. The Model 209's rapid development set the stage for an equally swift journey from prototype to combat deployment. As the Cobra prepared to bear its fangs on the battlefields of Vietnam, few could have predicted the profound impact this revolutionary aircraft would have on the nature of modern warfare. The Cobra carried enough firepower to level a small town. This wasn't hyperbole, but a stark reality of the AH-1's devastating capabilities. As the first dedicated attack helicopter, the Cobra represented a paradigm shift in aerial warfare, combining unprecedented firepower with the agility of a rotary-wing aircraft. Engineers faced a formidable challenge: how to integrate an arsenal of destructive weaponry without compromising the helicopter's speed and maneuverability. The solution lay in a carefully balanced design that maximized lethality, while maintaining the Cobra's ability to swiftly engage and disengage from combat situations. At the heart of the Cobra's offensive capabilities was the fearsome M197 Gatling gun. This 20mm cannon could unleash a torrent of 750 rounds per minute, creating a concentrated stream of fire that could decimate enemy positions and vehicles. The gun's high rate of fire made it particularly effective against ground targets, allowing pilots to deliver precise and overwhelming firepower in support of troops on the ground. Complementing the Gatling gun was an array of rocket pods. These could be configured to carry either 7 or 19 folding fin rockets per pod, giving the Cobra the ability to saturate an area with explosives or engage multiple targets in rapid succession. The flexibility of this rocket system allowed pilots to adapt their payload to the specific requirements of each mission. The Cobra's nose-mounted XM-28 turret system further enhanced its versatility in combat. This system could be equipped with either 2 miniguns or 2 40mm grenade launchers, providing pilots with additional options for close air support and area suppression. However, the integration of these weapon systems was not without its challenges. Pilots reported issues with the XM-18 minigun pods, noting a tendency for the weapons to jam, or more alarmingly, continue firing after the trigger was released. These malfunctions posed significant risks during operations, highlighting the ongoing refinement needed in weapons integration. With a total payload capacity of 2,500 pounds, a fully armed Cobra possessed the firepower equivalent to that of an entire infantry company. This concentration of destructive potential in a single, agile platform revolutionized battlefield tactics. The Cobra could rapidly respond to emerging threats, provide precise fire support for ground troops, and engage enemy positions with a level of speed and accuracy previously unattainable. As the Cobra prepared for its combat debut, military strategists eagerly anticipated its impact on the battlefield. The combination of mobility, firepower, and precision promised to reshape the nature of close air support and counterinsurgency operations. The stage was set for the Cobra to prove its worth in the crucible of combat, where its arsenal would be put to the ultimate test against a determined and elusive enemy. As the Cobra prepared for its combat debut, a critical weakness lay hidden beneath its fearsome exterior. Despite its revolutionary firepower, this apex predator of the skies harbored a vulnerability that would challenge its dominance and force pilots to adapt or perish. The AH-1 Cobra's armor and protection systems were designed to balance defensive capabilities with the need for speed and maneuverability. Carbon fiber side panels and reinforced seats offered some protection, but vital areas of the aircraft remained exposed. This trade-off between protection and performance would prove costly in the unforgiving crucible of combat. Perhaps the most glaring vulnerability was the Cobra's exposed tail rotor. This critical component, responsible for counteracting the torque of the main rotor and providing directional control, presented an easy target for enemy fire. The North Vietnamese army quickly recognized this weakness, often employing small arms fire and anti-aircraft artillery to devastating effect. The ubiquitous RPG, a staple of NVA arsenals, posed a particularly lethal threat to the Cobra's fragile tail section. These design flaws contributed significantly to the Cobra's combat losses. The statistics are sobering. 303 Cobras were lost during the conflict, with 247 crew members killed. Each loss represented not only a blow to military capabilities, but also a tragic human cost. The Cobra's vulnerabilities extended beyond its structural weaknesses. Pilot accounts revealed that the intense vibration from the 20mm Vulcan Gatling gun often caused radio malfunctions, complicating vital communication during missions. In the chaos of combat, these technical issues could mean the difference between success and disaster. As awareness of these vulnerabilities grew, pilots were forced to adapt their tactics to mitigate the risks. Many chose to fly at lower altitudes, using the terrain for cover and making it harder for enemy gunners to track their movements. The practice of flying in pairs became standard, allowing Cobras to provide mutual support and covering fire for one another. One pilot, Larry Earls, recounted a harrowing experience that highlighted the dangers faced by Cobra crews. His helicopter was shot down, and he and his crew narrowly escaped before the aircraft exploded. Earls described the intense fear and adrenaline that surged through him during the crash and subsequent escape. A stark reminder of the thin line between life and death that Cobra pilots walked with each mission. In response to these challenges, engineers made several design changes to improve the Cobra's survivability. The tail rotor was relocated to the right side of the tail boom, reducing its exposure to enemy fire. Additional armor upgrades were implemented to better protect vital areas of the aircraft. As the Cobra prepared to enter the fray of Vietnam, its vulnerabilities remained a concern. However, the adaptability of its crews and the ongoing refinements to its design would soon be put to the ultimate test. The battlefield awaited, ready to reveal whether the Cobra's strengths could overcome its weaknesses in the crucible of combat. The battlefield beckoned, and in June 1968, the Cobra answered the call. As the rotors of the first AH-1G spun up on Vietnamese soil, no one could have predicted how this untested gunship would fare against the impending storm of the Tet Offensive. Would its fearsome reputation crumble under real combat stress? Or was the US military about to unleash a game-changing predator? The AH-1 Cobra's introduction to Vietnam came at a critical juncture. Delivered to D Troop, 3/4 Cav in late May 1968, the aircraft wasted no time in proving its worth. Eager pilots, driven by a mix of excitement and urgency, began flying unauthorized missions shortly after arrival. This premature deployment, while risky, allowed crews to familiarize themselves with the aircraft's capabilities in actual combat conditions. As the Tet Offensive unfolded, the Cobra found itself thrust into the heart of intense fighting. The coordinated attacks by North Vietnamese forces across South Vietnam presented a severe test for the new gunship. Yet it was precisely this crucible that allowed the Cobra to demonstrate its transformative potential in modern warfare. The AH-1G's performance during these engagements was nothing short of revolutionary. Its ability to provide close air support with unprecedented precision and firepower significantly altered the dynamics of ground combat. The Cobra's speed and agility allowed it to respond rapidly to emerging threats, while its arsenal of rockets and the fearsome M197 Gatling gun provided a level of suppressive fire that infantry units had never before experienced from the air. Bruce Powell, one of the first Cobra pilots in Vietnam, captured the exhilaration of those initial missions. "I have never been more excited in my life than those first few weeks with my beloved Cobra." This enthusiasm, shared by many pilots, translated into aggressive and effective combat performance. However, the Cobra's baptism by fire was not without challenges. Pilots encountered unexpected mechanical issues, particularly with weapon systems. These malfunctions, occurring at critical moments during engagements, forced crews to adapt quickly and develop new tactics on the fly. Despite these setbacks, the overall success rate of Cobra missions during the Tet Offensive was remarkable, contributing significantly to the US military's strategic response. As the Cobra proved its worth on the battlefield, its impact extended beyond mere tactical advantage. Reports began to circulate of North Vietnamese soldiers expressing fear at the mere sound of approaching Cobras. The distinctive whop-whop of its rotors became a psychological weapon in itself, often causing enemy troops to break off engagements or abandon positions before the Cobra even arrived on scene. The AH-1 Cobra's performance during its initial combat deployment in Vietnam marked a turning point in helicopter warfare. Its combination of speed, firepower, and precision fundamentally altered military tactics and strategy. As the conflict progressed, the Cobra would continue to evolve, but its impact was already indelible. The gunship had not only met expectations but exceeded them, cementing its place as a formidable presence in the skies over Vietnam. In the dense jungles of Vietnam, sound traveled differently. For some, it brought hope. For others, terror. How did the distinctive whop-whop of Cobra rotors become a psychological weapon more potent than bullets? The concept of psychological warfare played a crucial role in the Vietnam conflict, and the AH-1 Cobra quickly became a formidable tool in this arena. As the gunship's reputation for deadly precision grew, so did its capacity to instill fear in enemy forces. The mere sound of an approaching Cobra could shatter morale and disrupt combat operations before a single shot was fired. Cobra pilots developed specific tactics to maximize this psychological edge. Flying low and fast, they would swoop over enemy positions, the thunderous roar of their engines and the menacing silhouette of the aircraft striking terror into the hearts of North Vietnamese Army, NVA, and Viet Cong soldiers below. These intimidation runs often resulted in enemy troops fleeing or seeking cover, effectively neutralizing their combat effectiveness without expending ammunition. The psychological impact of Cobra attacks extended far beyond the immediate battlefield. NVA and Viet Cong soldiers reported a profound fear of these gunships, with some accounts indicating that the sound of approaching Cobras could break their will to fight. This fear led to significant changes in enemy movement patterns and tactics. as units became more cautious and often delayed or abandoned planned assaults. When Cobras were known to be in the area, Cobra pilots frequently employed surprise attacks and rapid engagements to reinforce the perception of the gunship as an omnipresent threat. This approach not only maximized the physical damage inflicted, but also amplified the psychological toll on enemy forces. The combination of the Cobra's firepower and its psychological warfare tactics contributed to a notable shift in battlefield dynamics, leading to a decrease in enemy morale and an increase in American operational success. However, as the Cobra's psychological edge grew, so did the enemy's determination to counter it. North Vietnam developed propaganda efforts to downplay the effectiveness of the helicopters and boost morale among their troops. These measures, while not entirely successful, demonstrated the significant impact the Cobra had on the enemy's psyche and their recognition of its importance as a strategic asset. The psychological advantage provided by the Cobra had far-reaching effects on ground combat. American infantry units reported increased confidence and effectiveness when operating with Cobra support, knowing that this fearsome predator was watching over them. Conversely, enemy forces became increasingly hesitant to engage in open combat, altering their tactics to avoid confrontations where Cobras might be present. As the Cobra's presence continued to alter enemy tactics and morale, its impact on the war became undeniable. The gunship had not only proven its worth as a formidable weapon, but had also established itself as a powerful psychological tool, capable of influencing the battlefield in ways that extended far beyond its physical capabilities. This psychological edge, however, came at a cost. As we turn our attention to the human element of the Cobra's deployment, we must consider the toll exacted on both those who flew these machines and those who faced them in combat. While the Cobra's fearsome reputation grew, the human cost of piloting these aerial predators became increasingly apparent. Cobra pilots faced a stark reality, a 1 in 3 chance of not returning from each mission. This grim statistic underscored the extreme dangers these aviators confronted daily in the skies over Vietnam. The unique challenges of piloting a Cobra in combat demanded exceptional skill and nerves of steel. Pilots had to navigate dense jungle terrain while engaging enemy forces, often under heavy fire. The physical toll was immense, with long hours spent in cramped cockpits, enduring intense G-forces during evasive maneuvers. The psychological burden was equally heavy, as pilots grappled with the constant threat of death and the weight of their destructive capabilities. Training for Cobra pilots was rigorous and intense. Many transitioned rapidly from basic flight instruction to the realities of combat flying in Vietnam. The learning curve was steep and unforgiving. Larry Earls, a veteran Cobra pilot, vividly recalled the panic he experienced during training when his instructor unexpectedly exited the aircraft, leaving him alone at the controls. "I cannot tell you what kind of panic that puts into your system when the instructor pilot gets out of the aircraft," Earls recounted. The experiences of Cobra crews were marked by numerous close calls and harrowing encounters. Earls himself was shot down 7 times during his service, a testament to the constant danger these pilots faced. Each mission was a high-stakes gamble, with pilots acutely aware that any flight could be their last. The psychological impact of flying the Cobra was profound and long-lasting. Many veterans reported experiencing anxiety and fear, especially during their initial combat missions. The intense stress of combat flying, combined with the responsibility of wielding such devastating firepower, left an indelible mark on the psyche of these aviators. A deep bond often formed between Cobra pilots and their aircraft. Some, like Larry Earls, developed personal rituals or adopted personas to cope with the pressures of combat. Earls chose to wear a red scarf around his neck while flying, embodying a character that challenged the enemy and bolstered his own courage. The lasting impact of Cobra service on its crews extended far beyond their time in Vietnam. Many veterans struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and other long-term psychological effects stemming from their intense combat experiences. The memories of close calls, lost comrades, and the moral complexities of their role in the war continued to haunt many pilots, long after they returned home. As we consider the legacy of the AH-1 Cobra, it's crucial to remember the human element behind its fearsome reputation. The men who flew these machines not only shaped the course of the war, but were themselves profoundly transformed by their experiences. Their stories of courage, sacrifice, and resilience stand as a testament to the human cost of technological warfare. The AH-1 Cobra's DNA lives on in every modern attack helicopter. This revolutionary aircraft, born from the crucible of the Vietnam War, left an indelible mark on military aviation that continues to shape aerial warfare today. As the Cobra's service life drew to a close, its influence on military doctrine and tactics had already become profound. The concept of a dedicated attack helicopter, pioneered by the AH-1, fundamentally altered the approach to close air support and counterinsurgency operations. Military strategists recognized the value of a nimble, heavily armed rotorcraft that could provide rapid response and precision firepower in complex battlefield environments. The Cobra's tandem seat configuration, which placed the pilot behind and above the gunner, became a standard feature in subsequent attack helicopter designs. This arrangement offered improved visibility and a more streamlined profile, reducing the aircraft's vulnerability to enemy fire. The AH-64 Apache, which would eventually succeed the Cobra in the U.S. Army service, adopted this seating configuration, further refining it for enhanced combat effectiveness. The AH-1's innovative use of existing components, such as the UH-1 Iroquois engine and rotor system, set a precedent for cost-effective design in military aviation. This approach demonstrated that revolutionary capabilities could be achieved by cleverly integrating proven technologies, a principle that continues to influence modern aircraft development. The Cobra's advanced weapon systems, including the XM-28 turret and various rocket pods, established a new benchmark for helicopter armament. These systems became the foundation for even more sophisticated weapons on later attack helicopters, enabling increasingly precise and devastating strikes against a wide range of targets. As newer, more advanced attack helicopters entered service, the Cobra continued to evolve. Upgraded variants like the AH-1W Super Cobra and AH-1Z Viper incorporated modern technology while retaining the original's design philosophy. These iterations ensured that the Cobra's legacy remained relevant in changing combat environments. The AH-1's emphasis on crew protection, utilizing materials like carbon fiber, influenced future helicopter designs. This focus on survivability became a crucial consideration in subsequent attack helicopter development, balancing the need for protection with performance requirements. As the sun began to set on the Cobra's long and distinguished career with the U.S. Army, anticipation built for its final flight. On March 15, 1999, the last AH-1 Cobra flight by an active U.S. Army unit marked the end of an era. This poignant moment symbolized not just the retirement of an iconic aircraft, but the transition to a new generation of attack helicopters that carried forward the Cobra's legacy. The AH-1 Cobra's impact on military aviation extends far beyond its operational lifespan. Its revolutionary design, combat tactics, and technological innovations continue to influence modern attack helicopter development and employment. As we reflect on the Cobra's enduring legacy, we recognize its role in shaping the face of aerial warfare for generations to come. The AH-1 Cobra's impact on modern warfare cannot be overstated. It revolutionized aerial combat, transforming the battlefield with its unprecedented combination of speed, firepower, and precision. The Cobra's influence extends far beyond its operational lifespan, shaping the design and tactics of every attack helicopter that followed. From its tandem seating configuration to its advanced weapon systems, the AH-1 set new standards for rotary wing combat aircraft. Larry Earls, a veteran Cobra pilot, aptly summarized its significance. The Cobra was a game changer. It allowed us to engage the enemy with precision and speed, turning the tide in many battles. This sentiment echoes throughout the military aviation community, underscoring the Cobra's pivotal role in shaping modern combat doctrines. The legacy of the AH-1 Cobra lives on not only in the technological advancements it pioneered, but also in the memorials and museums dedicated to its service. These institutions, including the Vietnam Helicopter Pilots Association and various military aviation museums, serve as a testament to the Cobra's enduring impact and the sacrifices made by its crews. As we reflect on the Cobra's story, we are reminded of the complex interplay between human ingenuity and the harsh realities of conflict. The AH-1's development and deployment showcased remarkable technological innovation, yet it also underscores the immense human cost of warfare. The Cobra's legacy serves as both a triumph of engineering and a somber reminder of the price paid by those who flew into battle aboard this remarkable machine.